Welcome back for some boxing talk and boxing news for the week. This is a slow week in boxing, so we can branch out, talk about a few key topics that obviously have fallen from last week's fantastic week of boxing, and a lot of what people are talking about now based on that. So, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some breaking news that has been released on Twitter recently about proposed fights, particular situations that may unfold, and the rest. But before we do that, let's just quickly break down what we saw last week in boxing or this past weekend. Obviously, we had the big pay per view card with Tank Davis and David Benavidez uh, both stepping up to take on quality opponents, but not elite opponents. Obviously, we had David Benavidez taking on Vostik. Vostik at one time was a WBC champion, beating Adonis Stevenson to become the champion. Went on to try to unify against David Benavidez in a fight where he was very competitive, but eventually succumbed to the pressure and the power of Beterbiev and ended up getting stopped and then obviously retiring post-fight. And 4 years later, because of family financial situations brought on from the Russian-Ukrainian war, came back into boxing, has jumped in and fought two real low-level opponents before stepping in to face David Benavidez. Kind of a similar situation to what we saw Tyson Fury do when he came back to fight Deontay Wilder. You don't have great expectations for guys who've been fighting dudes that weren't even top 50 fighters in their weight class. That's what Fury and Vostik were doing before stepping in to face elite opposition. So it's no surprise that Fury didn't beat Wilder, even though many people feel he still deserved the decision, and that obviously Vostik, who was competitive, just wasn't able to really do too much with the younger, fresher, more active David Benavidez, who went on to beat him by a clear decision. What it did show me is that David Benavidez ain't going to be dominating anybody at 175 pounds. And as far as what he did at 168, it's what I said. He had two great victories in 2023 against Caleb Plant and against Demetrius Andrade. But prior to that, he did very little in the weight class. So all these people that are pushing him as being some sort of monster and some boogeyman at 168 pounds, it's all a fallacy. A lot of this is only being perpetuated because people are really anti-Canelo Alvarez and are always looking for the next fighter to sort of hang over his head. Paulie Malignaggi being the perfect example. If you want to hear some real hate and biased, one-sided breakdowns of what's going on, go listen to Paulie Malignaggi on ProBox. This guy really seems as if Canelo did have sex with his side piece, because he's a real angry fucking munchkin over the situation. But it is what it is. We will be talking about Canelo Alvarez on this video today and what potentially he will be doing moving forward. Whether we like it or don't like it, it is part of boxing. We also have some other topics. Obviously, Tank Davis looked fucking phenomenal, knocking out Frank Martin in a fight that nobody really was surprised about. The majority of people predicted that Frank Martin was going to get knocked out somewhere between the 7th and 9th round. That was pretty much what I heard from the majority of channels, even though they felt that Martin would give Tank Davis a good fight. Eventually, he would get knocked out between the 7th and 9th round, and that's exactly what happened. I was a little more excited, and I said Tank Davis by 3rd round knockout. But if you watch the fight, you know that Tank Davis at that point hadn't even really started to really close ground on Frank Martin. And not until later did he start really putting pressure on him and finally landing shots that eventually did get Frank Martin out. Well, it was a quality win. It still stands what people said. Well, Frank Martin is a top 10 lightweight and a good opponent for Tank Davis. He is not a big name, doesn't have a big fan base, and is not the kind of fighter that's going to help you sell a pay-per-view. That's why David Benavidez was added to this pay-per-view. They're hoping that having a two-headed lion on it would somehow fuse the public and gather attention. But unfortunately, while it was a good pay-per-view card and had very good undercard fights that were pretty exciting, obviously Elijah Garcia getting beat, Gary Russell's brother getting beat, quite a few upsets of that nature that obviously were entertaining and quite surprising, and really ruined quite a few people's weekly predictions. It is what it is. It wasn't a star-studded pay-per-view that people would be super excited to spend $80 to $85 to watch. Sorry, that's just the truth. It's no hate. It's just truth, reality. Unfortunately for the PBC, the majority of fights they put on are pay-per-view. And when you continue to push out pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view, you're not going to get a lot of people super excited to reach into their pockets and continuously pay for it. Then, of course, we had Sabril Matias get his homecoming, just signed with Matchroom. Matchroom putting a fighter in with a fighter they thought was going to be easy work in a homecoming fight. And once again, a Matchroom fighter ended up getting beat and losing the world title. This is not a surprise. Matchroom puts their fighters in tough, whether it's just a bad read of styles, putting them in with fighters that just don't really match up and eventually beat them, whatever it may be. People can't really hate on Eddie Hearn. He puts his fighters in tough. But let's check out who's in. Drunk Irishman's in the house. What's up, my man? Snoopy, Loma is in trouble, Sean. That tank pressure is going to leave Loma stranded in the deep end. How will Loma stop high guard Tank? Well, we'll talk about that, but let's be serious. Frank Martin is no Lomachenko. He allowed himself to get caught on the ropes a lot. He allowed that. Well, he has fast hands and stuff. His movement wasn't that great, and he continuously put himself in that position. Snoopy says, it's my good friend, drunk Irish woman. People, we don't need to be snappy. I was never sold on Benavidez and this Mexican monster boogeyman bullshit. He couldn't stop Plant. Canelo did. He couldn't stop Vosdick. Beterbiev did. And that's all I said. I think David Benavidez is a good fighter. I think David Morrell is a better fighter. And people are putting a lot of smoke on the wrong horse. And a lot of these Black American YouTube channels that are all about race, they should really be fucking jumping on David Morrell, because that's the better horse to ride to the finish line, right? If you want to pick a guy in and around that weight class who's going to be significant and do more, you probably should jump on David Morrell. But okay, you can jump on Benavidez. He will be exposed eventually. Where are we? That shows you how bad Shakur is fighting Frank Martin's leftovers in Artham. No, it has nothing to do with that. What Shakur is doing is trying to make a statement. He's trying to do what we see many fighters do. Go fight somebody's opponent that they struggled with, to go in and beat them impressively. To go, look, you fucking couldn't do anything with this guy. I destroyed him. I made him look like nothing, right? That's why you ducked me, son, because you were scared, because you know how good I am. It's the same thing we saw AJ do with Tyson Fury opponents recently. It's the same thing we saw many fighters do throughout history. Wayne Evans in the house. If Tank doesn't unify next, his fanboys will somehow be fine with it. Of course they will. They literally don't care. If he moves up to 140 pounds and fights Cruz or rematches Ryan Garcia, these guys are going to act like that's the best thing that ever happened in boxing. Loma will school Stank. People acting like Loma is finished. He just stopped the guy who Haney couldn't even hurt in 24 rounds. Why is Inouye fighting a nobody in DJ Dahoney and supposedly Sam Goodman after that? Well, Sam Goodman is mandatory in 2 weight divisions, 2 sanctioning bodies. So he would have to fight him eventually, because one of those sanctioning bodies is going to mandate it. And as far as TJ Dahoney, we'll talk about that moving forward as well. Inouye has the skills. Silk sheet syndrome. Oh my God, come on. I favor Loma versus Tank. Benavidez versus Yard would be a good fight. I would love that fight. That is a real fight. Artem beat Frank Martin, in my opinion. A lot of people feel he beat him, or at least exposed him. Salute y'all. Jay Perez is in the house. Abay Kushabayev. Janibek again, fight against sucker fighter. What's wrong with Top Rank? What do you think? Well, the truth is, Top Rank is just smart business-wise. They're not going to overpay for an opponent for Janibek. And as far as Janibek not being a big name, not being able to sell big, they're trying to get him opponents that make sense and wait for an opportunity. The good thing about Janibek being Muslim means that potentially he could be part of those Saudi Arabian cards, especially ones that are in America. And that could be the windfall for him as far as opportunity, right? Now you got obviously Adamas and some other fighters starting to circulate around that. Shiraz, the UK fighter who looked really good in his last performance. So, some possibilities are opening up. Do you think only casual and Crips hate Loma and GGG? Yes. Mad Chad's in the house. Peace, brother. What's up? Don't cap, Sean. I bet you love Canelo versus Skull matchup. Well, we're going to talk about that. But if you are saying that, then I don't even know why you're on my channel, in truth. Really. Because if you watch my previous videos, you will know what you just said is complete BS. I've already addressed that fight well before the haters did. After Tank beat Martin, I heard Fannin say he doesn't care who Tank fights anymore, implying that Tank has nothing else to prove. You can't make this up. That's what I've said all along with this Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez kind of hate and Charlo and Andrade type of bullshit. Tank Davis has literally gotten away for years picking and choosing opponents. And there's no heat on him. Whereas Canelo Alvarez literally can't do anything without being criticized, right? Yet people want to call that Tank Davis is the face of boxing. Hit the like buttons and subscribe. Yes, people, do that. Thoughts on Top Rank winning the purse bid for Haney versus Sandor? You think Haney vacates and moves up to fight Barrios for the WBC strap? Good question. We will be talking about that too. That's part of my PPT. So once I scroll through a bit, I will open it and then we can start talking about some of these things you're bringing up. But I'm glad to see that we're all simpatico. The same topics are obviously on all of our minds. Enough hanky talk. It's boring. Mad Chad, the Tavern of Bums are here. Snoopy, if you don't want to be here, you can go. Like, why don't we talk about boxing and not a lot of this BS type of shit? Check it, bruh. McSmith, yeah, okay. If Prime GG fighting right now, you can bet everyone at middleweight division. I believe he can. No problem. Fucking easy work. A-Star222 says, there is a lot of heat on Tank from what I see on social media, and rightly so, but his fanboys do muddy it up. They do. Virgil moved up. The Bud card makes it weak now. Moved off. Well, come on, man. Makes it weak. You're weak. Just with your narratives, but whatever. We understand what happened. It's unfortunate. It would have been a great addition to the card, but weak? Come on. So let's jump on our PPT and talk about some of these topics people have brought up. So first one, people want to know why Anui is fighting TJ Dehoney. Nobody's excited about this as far as people that are outside Japan, right? Americans, probably even UK people might be kind of excited, but probably would have been more excited if this fight was actually happening on the undercard of AJ versus Dubois, which we heard potentially it might be happening on. But it looks as if the fight that Saudi Arabia and Matchroom and DAZN were probably trying to push more was the MJ Akhmadinejad fight. And that's the fight I would have loved. I think that's a real competitive fight. I think in truth, it's probably the best opponent that Anui has fought in his career. Fast, powerful, a lot in his toolbox, a guy that obviously was an elite amateur, and I think would be a really intriguing matchup for Anui. But TJ Dehoney has fought several times recently in Japan, and the Japanese crowd is familiar with him. They know who he is. They like him. They're familiar with him. And because of that, he sells seashells by the seashore. If you haven't seen that song by that UK artist, you should check it out. It's a good song, Mental. But Well, us in North America aren't going to love it. The truth is, does it matter? Because you hear all the hate people throw towards Inui. It literally doesn't matter who he fought. It could be Casemiro. It could be MJ Akhmedov. It could be any of these fighters at 122 pounds. And literally, people would give him no credit at all. And for him, he doesn't really give a fuck, right? Fuck those guys because they're not the ones buying my fights. I don't care. 55,000 people from Japan came out to watch him fight Luis Neri. Now they're trying to sell another big fight with a fighter that's recognized and known by the Japanese boxing population. And that's why TJ Dehoney is being pushed as the next opponent. Obviously, it was supposed to be Sam Goodman, but he wants a stay busy fight before jumping in to face Inui. Inui's then going to face Sam Goodman. That's going to be his third fight of the year. And then potentially he may move to 126. It's a shame if he doesn't fight MJ Akhmedov or Casemiro at 122 pounds, or even weight at that weight class for Junto Nakatani to move up. For me, those are three far more significant fights than any fight he could get right now at 126 pounds. You can let me know in the comment section below if you think there's a better opponent at 126 than Junto Nakatani or MJ Akhmedov or even Casemiro. I think there's similar opponents to Casemiro, right? Same. Not better, not worse, just similar, and kind of have the same attributes that he has as well. So I wouldn't be mad for him to stay at 122 potentially until 2026, because at that point, maybe you're going to have a potential superstar fighter, a unified champion at 126 that would make it worthwhile for Nui to move up and try to become a 5-weight world champion. Maybe the great young top-ranked fighter who's looking fantastic will become a star at that weight, and then Inui can move up in that class. But at this point, there's better fights, I think, at 122. Let me know what you think. MJ, who lost it to Palace. Yeah, but you're missing the whole point. See, that's the problem when you push narratives. If you don't really follow the sport, you don't really know the whole story. And unfortunately, too many people on YouTube, like you, push these kind of narratives. Generally, when PBC stars get out of their protection program, they get destroyed. I think Tank is better than Spence and Wilder, but Loma will beat him. That's true, right? Let me plug my computer in. We see that consistently, and you make a great point, and I definitely think there's a lot of truth to it. Like even by beating Frank Martin, that's still a guy that's just part of the PBC who's never fought a top 10 lightweight. So, well, he looked great against him. What does that really tell us? Even Cruz, who just beat Rolly Romero. What does that really fucking tell us about Cruz? It doesn't really tell us too much. There's not too many fighters that we know that really tell us too much about how good Tank Davis is. Petraza, his first really legitimate win, Lomachenko beat him at a more comfortable weight and beat him convincingly as well, right? So it looks like it's a really competitive fight. You would think, especially with the age difference, but you got to wait and see, right? Frank Martin, Neri, to Palace, Dehori. Well, Frank Martin has never been a world champion and never will be a world champion. Luis Neri is a 2-weight world champion. Tapales was a unified champion. TJ Dehoney was also a world champion. All three of those fighters are world champions. Frank Martin is a 29-year-old prospect who got his first world title fight and got knocked the fuck out. And at this point, may never be in the conversation for a world title fight again. So you can ride with the Black American fighter because he looks like you, but based on what he's accomplished, it's clear he's accomplished fucking nothing. I've seen TJ fight a few times, and he's easy work for the monster. I don't like what Bob Arum said about the MJ fight. Sounded very PBC-ish. Well, to be fair, Bob Arum is not the one promoting the fight in Japan. He's not the one pushing it. He's just sticking with his fighter and the direction that Japan wants to go. Obviously, his Japanese promoter knows what's going to sell in Japan. And TJ Dehoney, well, I agree with you. He's easy work, I think, for Inui. He's a name that Japanese boxing public is familiar with. And because of that, he's going to sell. Whereas a guy like MJ, he's not a name. They don't know who he is. He didn't fight very often. He hasn't done really what he should have been doing. He's been a little too inactive, which is why he lost that fight. Mad Chad. Tank made 133, so you can get to 130. Come on, up Inui, and we see Rigo do it for Loma. See, but right now you think that Tank has to, Inui has to fight Tank to prove himself. So why doesn't Tank Davis go up to 147 and fight Putenes? Of course, for you that would be ridiculous, but you don't mind trying to get Inui beat to try to build Tank's name up. Why doesn't Tank Davis fight Shakur or Lomachenko? He's got elite pound for pound quality fighters in his fucking weight class. Go fight them. No Alonzo. Yeah. The standards for Tank are so low that Loma trips on them. The standards for Loma are so high that Tank can't reach them. True, Wayne Evans. Is Tank Davis this era's Mikey Garcia? He will fight some decent fighters, but never give fans the fights they want. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. A lot of stuff, unfortunately, for Mikey Garcia didn't quite fall into place either, but, you know. TJ Dahoney retired 5 years ago. Yeah, but we got to keep it real. If Inui fights any other fighter at 122 pounds, us hardcore fans are going to be impressed. But the majority of people, like people in the comment section right here, Snoopy and others, they don't care. They're not going to give Inui credit regardless. They literally want him to go up and fight Tank Davis at 133. I rather guys fighting the best in their division before they move up. Me too. TJ Honey is a terrible opponent. And second thoughts, I'm a big Inui fan, but this is ridiculous. Well, it's not ridiculous. He stayed busy. He's fought champion after champion after champion. This is a fight that sells in Japan. That's it. Shakur, he is in his last fight with Top Rank deal, so we don't know what he is going to do next. No, we don't. I didn't know he retired 5 years ago. People retire, right? We just saw Vostik retire, come back after 4 years and get a world title fight. Well, not sorry, it wasn't a world title fight, but get a huge fight on a pay-per-view card versus David Benavidez. What's the difference for that and Inui fighting TJ Dahoney? Every Inui will sell in Japan. Well, you're barking up the wrong tree getting into this debate, because the truth is Inui's promoter knows what's going to work, and that's why he's doing it. And we can't say Inui's afraid of people, because he's literally fought fucking everyone. He moved up and fought Stephen Fulton in his first fight at the weight. So we will see. But as I said, I let you know what I feel. I wish he was fighting MJ, Casemiro, and then Junto Nakatani. And after those three fighters, then he could move up and fight Top Rank's next great young fighter at 126. Inui just fought 5 champions. People need to chill out. Exactly. Nobody else is doing that, but somehow Inui is going to be heavily criticized by all these American YouTubers who don't fucking rate him anyway. Some of whom don't even put him on their top 10 pound for pound list. Inui will sell here in America too, because the haters want to see him lose, just like they did Floyd. What 5 champions? Paul Butler, Tapalis, Neary, a shot to pieces, Donaire. See, Snoopy, you're just showing your fucking hate. That's all. Donaire wasn't shot to pieces. He just fucking won a world title and then defended it against the #1 mandatory. 2 undefeated fighters, and then stepped in and faced Inui, who fucking destroyed him the second time around. Tapalis just beat an undefeated unified champion. Stephen Fulton, I noticed you did not even put, oh, there you are. Outside of Fulton, sorry, Inui's resume is very lackluster. Lackluster. You mean like Tank Davis? Isn't this the same kind of bullshit we hear constantly from haters? People said I was hating on Tank Davis's resume. No, I was putting things in perspective. When we look at Spence fans who were shitting all over Bud Crawford's resume, but still had Bud Crawford pound for pound #1. So his resume is shit garbage, but you're still going to put him on the pound for pound list number one. Why? Because, well, he's black, so you need a black guy on the number one position, right? Otherwise, your fucking world will collapse. Like, fucking the racism that fucking goes in to pushing these narratives. Snoopy, your whole narrative is based on racism. That's it. Because what you say right now, if I said about any black fighter, you'd flip your wig. Inui has fought first, second, and third best fighters at 122 and only fought at 122 3 times. I know. You tell me what great black American fighter currently has fought the number 1, 2, and 3 best fighters in a weight division back to back to back. I will wait. But if I wait, unfortunately, we're all going to be sitting here in silence for fucking hours and hours and hours because none of them have. What do you think of Inui versus Bruce Carrington? Well, that's what I'm talking about, Bruce Carrington, right? That's why I think Inui should stay at 122, fight MJ, Casemiro, and then wait for Junto Nakatani to come up, right? Which would be fucking the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history. That shit would be huge. That would be like Godzilla versus King Kong. That would be giant, right? And then he could move up to 126. And by that time, 2025, Bruce Carrington is probably going to be a world champion. And maybe even more than that, depending on how fast Top Rank moves him and how ready Bruce Carrington really is to grab onto that. And then when Nui jumps up to his 5th division, you would have exactly what Snoopy and John and the LDBC and everybody else want. A great black American fighter right there to try to stop Inui from becoming a 5-weight world champion. And then if Inui beats him, oh, he's too young, he's unproven, and it doesn't prove much. We know what the storylines are going to be fucking a year beforehand. But nonetheless, I think it would be great. But we still need that great fighter to develop and do those things. Tank also isn't getting spun around like a bottle cap versus C-level fighters like Neri. See, you say Neri's a C-level fighter, but Neri is a 2-weight world champion. What 2-weight world champion has fucking Tank Davis fought in his last fucking 6 fights? Any? No, 0. And sure, Inui got dropped and then got up and proceeded to beat fucking Luis Neri's ass. See, like, I don't understand the mentality of some fans to cherry pick these kind of things. Fighters get dropped through the history. Roberto Duran got knocked out by Tommy Hearns. Are we going to now say he's garbage? I mean, Sugar Ray Robinson got knocked the fuck out by fucking plenty of fighters. Joey Maxim at 175, right? So now he's shit, garbage. Why would we put him the number 1 fighter of all time? Fuck that. Sugar Ray Robinson, get his ass off that list. And we're going to be talking about some of that later on in this video. Neri got one good moment and got destroyed every second of that fight. Exactly. What do you think of Ben Whittaker? I don't get all the hype. Ben Whittaker was a great prospect for the UK. Unlike a lot of UK fighters, he's got a lot of swag. A lot of bluster. He's kind of the next coming of Prince Nassim. And the UK is kind of waiting for a Prince Nassim fighter to materialize, especially now that UK boxing is so big. The problem is that all this fucking bullshit he does is going to be weak ass if he doesn't actually prove it against elite level fighters. So we have to wait and see. Inui wanted to fight Akhmedov and Casemiro this year, but neither of those fighters will happen because of Arum. I don't think it has anything to do with Arum. Arum doesn't control the fights in the UK. That's all based on fucking the Japanese promoter, right? Does Nakatani train in the West? He does. He's in the States right now training. Inui has beat more active belt holders than every PBC fighter, yet Inui is the one who fights bums. I know. You can't talk truth and reality with these people, because the truth is Inui is not black and not American, so we're not going to give him credit fucking regardless, even if he goes up and fights Tank Davis at 133. Neri is better than 95% of Tank's opponents. Even Takuma has a better resume than Tank. I don't know about that, but Tank splattered a 4-division champion, and you gave him no credit. Leo beat Frampton and Abner at 126. It's not that I didn't give him any credit. I'm just putting it in perspective. He beat a fighter in his fourth weight division that hadn't even proven anything at 130. He fought one bum ass dude who wasn't even ranked by the WBA. So in the top 15 of the WBA, he fought a guy not even ranked by the WBA for Tank Davis's vacant title. Struggled and looked like garbage against him, and then got a Tank Davis fight. Did you think he was going to win? Did you put some money on him? Did anybody think that fucking Leo Santa Cruz was going to win? We know why they picked fucking Leo Santa Cruz. So they could do Tank Davis' first pay-per-view against a Mexican fighter with some name recognition so they could get as much buys as possible. The same thing they did with Errol Spence against fucking Mikey Garcia. The same thing they did with Deontay Wilder with Tyson Fury. I ain't hating on it, but I'm calling it out fucking correct. That's exactly what these guys were used for, to help build up these dudes into pay-per-view stars. So get a grip. Be fucking honest. Be honest. I know that's difficult, you coming from Baltimore and whatnot, but fucking try to be honest, please. That's all I ask. Facts. Salute. Because he pulled him up from 130. How did you pull Leo up when he already a champ at 130? Yes, he was a champion at 130. No, they fought at 130. Tank Davis went down and fought him. I swear, Sean, go to BoxRec and compare his first opponents to Tank's. Well, okay, if you do that, yes, then there's no comparison. My bad. I was thinking of Hector Garcia. Yes, he pulled Hector up. Quiet down, Wayne. Big boys are talking. Oh, my God. Can you be more condescending, buddy? Leo had no power at 126, struggled in his only fight at 130 before they offered him to fight Tank. That's a fact. And that's all I said. Sure, he could give Tank Davis some problems until he gets knocked out, because he's not going to put up any resistance that Tank Davis is going to be fucking threatened by. He has no power. He had no power at 126. He was not knocking anybody out at 126. He wasn't knocking anyone out at 122. And then this is the guy that ducked fucking Rigo. So we're going to lambaste fucking Leo Santa Cruz, criticize him and Frampton and Mares for all ducking Rigo. But then we're going to fucking act like, whoa, Tank Davis beat him. But yet at 122 pounds, you fucking knew Rigo was going to fucking knock his ass out. But now we ignore all that, and then we fucking hang him up there like, whoa, look, Tank Davis beat fucking Leo Santa Cruz, a 4-weight world champion. Yeah, okay. That means nothing. Just like we give Manny Pacquiao tons of credit for beating fucking Adrian Broner. Tons of credit. Tons. The devil only lies. That's true. Would Inouye versus Loma be a good fight in the U.S.? Sure. Tank would be bigger, but any of those fights would be big. If a guy is a 3-4 weight division, he is already fighting guys bigger than him. Yep. Inouye versus Loma prime at 126 would have been a great matchup. Tank was already beat up Leo before he nut shattered Leo. Nut? Did he hit him in the nuts? I don't remember that. Tank is always getting beat early in fights, and what happens? Body bags are filled. Big boys laugh out loud. That's not you, Woodstock. Yeah, Tank Davis got power. And one of the criticisms we say about him, like Canelo, and the same thing I said when Canelo fought Jaime Munguia. In theory, Jaime Munguia could beat Canelo Alvarez because he's a volume puncher. Counter punchers struggle against volume punchers. You can win rounds by outworking them and out hustling them, right? That's what Liam Pero just did with fucking Subriel Matias. Out hustled him, outworked him, won the fight, right? But ultimately, when you have great power, you possibly will get an opportunity to finish a guy off, like Tank Davis does, like Inouye does, like Wilder did, like Canelo does. But it's a tough way to win every fight. It's kind of one-dimensional. And depending on what fighter you face, you might get exposed, like Wilder, like Canelo versus Bivol. Heart disease has some guys that say you shouldn't lose any rounds. Oh my God. Tank body bag is shallow. Tank's body bag is special. Loma ribs were broken by Devin. Just imagine Tank. Devin Haney is fucking huge compared to Lomachenko. Lomachenko is bigger than Tank Davis. So it's going to be a different fight. Also, uh, it's just going to be a different fight. Tank Davis also does not have the reach advantage that Devin Haney had. I should rather see Inui versus Elijah Pierce than TJ and MJ. More than MJ, Elijah Pierce hasn't fucking done anything. He's a prospect. Like, I know he's black, but outside of that, he just got knocked down against some bum on fucking that cable TV boxing network. Like, that dude needs fucking more cooking before he's ready for fucking anybody. If you want to go this way, Martin was outboxing Tank. Imagine Loma. Well, that's it. You can see how these things can unfold. Let's check out this. So there you go. Here's BoxRec rankings, and obviously BoxRec rankings aren't perfect, but I rather look at a cumulative ranking as opposed to fucking one of the sanctioning bodies. So Inui, Fulton shouldn't even be ranked there because he obviously moved up. Casemiro, Goodwin is number 4. Neri number 5. Tapalis number 6. So he's going to be fighting 6, 5, 4, and 2. The only one he didn't fight was number 3, Casemiro, and I don't know why Casemiro is ranked above MJ because he hasn't done anything in the weight class. Liam Davies, Romero, Vasquez, I don't know your name, some Japanese dude. Elijah Pierce is 13. TJ Dahoney is 14. So there you are. And over here you can see who TJ Dahoney's been fighting recently, but that's insignificant. What's significant is the fact that, excuse me, he's been fighting in Japan. That's what he's been doing, winning in Japan. And that's why he's getting this opportunity. I just want to see Inui versus Elijah before, because Elijah's been calling out the monster. Yeah, but Elijah Pierce, let's check him out. What has he done? What's the best opponent he's faced? I know guys like John and them, they love to push him because he's a black American fighter. It's the same way they were trying to push Gary Russell at 118. What happened to Gary Russell? He got beat by fucking Rodriguez, the guy that Inui knocked out in 2 rounds, right? So, well, I understand the sentimentality that goes into picking Elijah Pierce. It's just based on that. It's just based on race. It's not based on anything he's actually done in the ring, because literally he hasn't done fucking anything. TJ Dahoney was a world champion. And well, he lost to what's his face, the Daniel Roman. It was a fucking great fight. Have you guys seen it? If you didn't see it, go watch Daniel Roman, TJ Dahoney. Great fucking fight. Great fight. So here we go. Let's look at Elijah Pierce. He's black. He's American. 19-2. So as a young guy, 27 years of age, he already has 2 losses. Never been fucking KO'd, so at least it wasn't based on that. But sometimes getting KO'd is good. It just means you got caught. Getting outboxed by fighters that are inferior, that's kind of worse. When you look at who he's faced recently, I mean, he's fighting some guy, Jose Samat Martin, 35-8-1. He beat Arthur Villanueva, who at one time was a good fighter, but that was a long time ago. He beat Mike Plania, not bad. Tremont Williams, not bad. So in recent fights, his level of opposition has been much better. He was beat by some guy, Suleiman Sagawa, Japanese fighter, I suppose, 12-2. And then Giovanni Cabrera. Hey, Giovanni Cabrera, 11-0, beat him. And hey, Giovanni Cabrera is a good fighter. He's going to be fighting who next? He's fighting somebody coming up soon. I can't remember who it is, though. Where are we? Chiron schooled one Elijah hype job. See, now you just look stupid. So Kyron Davis beat a 21-year-old kid in a competitive fight. What happened to fucking Gary Russell? The guy that was the boogeyman at 140 and everybody was afraid to fight. He literally fucking got beat. But you're going to, of course, shit on the Mexican American. American still, but based on race, you're going to fanboy for Russell and then you're going to shit on the Mexican American guy. But yet everyone else is the racist, not you. 140, Russell lost, huh? So much for 100% KO ratio. A lot of fighters at 126 say they want a newie, but they're not fighting each other. Exactly. Very disappointed that Canelo is fighting a tomato can next. That's fucking the IBF, man. The IBF fuck shit up with their bullshit fucking mandatories. And we'll talk about that right now. I'll turn to that after I finish Wayne Evans' comment. Do you think Usyk can become undisputed at cruiserweight again? How would that affect his legacy at heavyweight? If he goes down to cruiserweight and becomes undisputed again, I think fucking that just makes him a fucking superstar, right? Because he doesn't need to continue to fight at heavyweight. If he beats fucking AJ and Fury, what else does he need to do? He did everything he has to do. He also beat Daniel Dubois, who might beat AJ. So literally, there's nothing that guy needs to do. If he goes back down to cruiserweight, it just shows you he's hungry to prove himself, right? And that's impressive. And it also tells you that he's just too small at heavyweight, that literally he's eating himself into that division, but it's not a comfortable weight for him. Why isn't IBF mandatory AJ versus Dubois? Because fucking Dubois just got beat by fucking Usyk. Right? The problem is the IBF should just fuck off because everything they touch, they fuck up. Stripping Bud Crawford a month after he wins the Undisputed Championship to fucking give Boots Ennis an email title. You don't need to do that. Boots Ennis doesn't need fucking charity. He's fucking one of the best fighters at 147. His day is going to come. Bud Crawford is going to drop all those titles and Boots Ennis can go fucking win it. You don't need to fucking disrespect Bud Crawford and do your bullshit heavy-handed crap that the IBF consistently does. The reason why Canelo did not fight fucking Andrade to become undisputed at middleweight, because of the fucking IBF. People ignore that because people are full of shit and they don't want to fucking be honest. Now, of course, they're going to say, oh, well, Canelo Alvarez is fighting William Skull, but he didn't fight David Benavidez. Fucking WBC did not fucking mandate David Benavidez. The IBF is mandating fucking William Skull. So whether it's a fight anybody wants or not, it is fucking what's happening, or else Canelo can drop the title. And if he drops the title, he's going to get criticized, probably like Devin Haney, who we're going to talk about later in this video, and maybe like Inouye, because Inouye also said if he's being forced to fight his mandatory, who would be MJ Akhmadiev, he will drop that title. Because in truth, you don't need all that baggage. Like, look what happened to AJ for years. Deontay Wilder fans literally shit on him because he was fighting his mandatories, but wasn't fighting Deontay Wilder. Well, he had 3 fucking mandatories. Deontay Wilder couldn't fight his one mandatory, fucking Dillian White, and was protected by the WBC. Whereas AJ was being force-fed fucking mandatory after mandatory after mandatory after mandatory. Right? These mandatories are full of shit. And we'll look at William Skull's resume in 1 second. But I don't like Usyk's chances. I think the weight cut at his age will hurt him. It could be, but I think he's pretty confident that that's going to be his best weight. Opetaia is the best at cruiserweight. That's true. He just struggled badly with an old inactive Breedis. Usyk could take over the division whenever. I agree. Canelo will probably give Skull step around money to fight Berlanga. It would be better. Berlanga fight is a big fight. It will sell. It will be more successful. Who the fuck is William Skull? A Cuban fighter with a boring style who hasn't fought anyone. Usyk also has fought tough fight with Breidis. Sure he did, fucking years ago when Breidis was prime. Yeah, he beat a prime one. Yes, he did. I mean, I'm not hating on William Skull because in truth, I like mandatories. What it does is it forces the promoters to do something they don't want to do, right? Either drop the title and embarrass your fighter and embarrass your promotional fucking stable, or step up and fight somebody that isn't part of your promotion company, doesn't have a major promoter behind him because of what they've earned. And now you go to fucking, what do you call it? The cash thing, purse bid, where now anybody can bid on it, which is fucking also great. But unfortunately, you should have to beat fucking dudes in the division in your rankings to actually fucking move up into the number one position. And we'll look at his in a second. Let's just check it, William Skull, right here. Here you go. So here's the rankings. Here, let me get my fucking ugly face off the screen so we can make this bigger. I don't know if you guys can see easy, but for me, I'm blind, so I can't see it until it's like this. Now I can't see your comments, but I can see the page. So 168. Munguia, number one. Mimbila, Berlanga, Andrade, Morel, who also moved to 175. Ulysses Iglesias, fucking him and Morel, easily the best two fighters. Sajo, who just fought last weekend, did not perform too well. Diego Pacheco, who I'm super high about, but his last performance was pretty underwhelming. Eric Benzinian, the Canadian, good, but not great. Siskin, Derevchenko, Siliagan, Nelson, blah, 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 blah. William Skull at number 18. Number 18. Number 18. Now you cross over and you see who he fought. The best guy on his resume is undefeated Yevgeny Shevchenko at 15-0. That was the only guy that was even ranked by the IBF. None of these other fucking fighters are fucking worth mentioning. After Shevchenko, he fought a guy who was 26, 25, and fucking 3. Then he fought a guy who was 23 and 18 and 3. But this is the guy the IBF wants to fucking force down Canelo Alvarez's throat and threaten that they're going to strip him like they did with fucking Derevchenko back in the day if you don't fight him. Yet what promoter in their fucking right mind is going to pay for that fucking fight? Right? Like, let's just be honest. If you were Matchroom or fucking the PBC, do you want to pay Canelo Alvarez $30 fucking million to go fight William Skull in what easily is going to be a boring ass fucking fight? The dude's going to run and try to survive for 12 fucking rounds. He's just going to use his jab, occasionally throw a right hand, and fucking circle the ring like fucking Lara did, like Plant and Billy Joe Saunders did. It's not a fucking good fight. And at this point of Canelo's career, why would you fucking bother? Right? You have Mimbilia, Berlanga, Morel, Iglesias, Sajo, Pacheco. Any of those fighters would be way better. Fucking Bek Malakuziev, who's number 17, he would be better. Those fights would be way more exciting and would sell way better. Like, who the fuck wants to watch William Skull? Go fight somebody and prove yourself. That's all. I like Mandos too, but it seems the IBF uses Uber to recruit them. Fuck, man. Then WBAs, at least they don't force it so much, but their rankings are fucking garbage too. Oxford educated high school headmaster, what's up? Haney versus Martin is the cure for insomnia. We're going to talk about that. And it is, right? And obviously that just went to purse bid, and now Devin Haney's in his feelings. For me, I think in truth, probably the best thing that Devin Haney could do right now, coming off of his last performance, is probably face a guy like fucking Sandor Martin. He's not a hard puncher, so you don't have to worry about being chin checked coming off of the devastating fucking ass beating you took against Ryan Garcia. Right? It's kind of like stepping into the wading pool before jumping back into the ocean with sharks. It's a smart fucking direction to go. And you'll get less money. Like Canelo will have to take less money to fight Skull. But the difference is Canelo fucking isn't coming off of an ass beating. And again, like, what did Sandor Martin do recently that made him a mandatory? That shows Ryan Garcia carried the entire promotion. Devin got butthurt because of Eddie. You know, and I don't even understand why you get butthurt. You're not promoted by fucking Eddie Hearn. He's a free agent. He just fought on fucking Golden Boy. Why is Eddie Hearn obligated to fucking overpay for fucking this kid to go fight Sandor Martin in a fight that literally nobody is going to be interested in? Even fucking the LDBC, who's up Devin Haney's ass like a fucking butt plug. Even those fucking cap-ass motherfuckers won't be able to fucking put a spin on that fight. And I ain't hating, because occasionally you need to fight a guy like that. If Canelo needs to fight William Skull, he needs to fight him. If Devin Haney needs to fight Sandor Martin, you need to fight him. If fucking T.O. needs to fight fucking that Canadian dude, you need to fight him. It is what it is. Not every fight you're going to have is going to be huge, mega fight, right? You're going to have in-between fights like a TJ Dahoney, and that's okay. The problem is Devin Haney, as you can see in this comment, is bitter because he wants to get paid fucking big money. And Canelo does get paid big money. So, what are you going to do? Skull is going to get dented. The fact that pure boxers sucks and don't sell is boring style. And that's true. People that act like pure boxers are somehow marketable and something boxing fans want to see, they contradict themselves, because we see that Wilder, Spence, Tank Davis, those guys sell. Floyd Mayweather sold, but that's an abnormality, right? Lara didn't sell. Rigo didn't sell. Haney doesn't sell. Shakur doesn't really sell. Those kind of fighters just aren't really marketable, because casual boxing fans don't give a fuck to watch those dudes, because they're not that invested and they know they're not going to be entertained. So you got to have the kind of opponent that's really going to make the fight entertaining, right? Really push it. Otherwise, it's potentially a boring fight, right? And that's no hate towards fighters. It just is what it is. These same people that prop up these pure boxers, they don't even watch amateur fucking boxing. If they love that style so much, they would be talking about amateur boxing all the time. But those dudes don't even watch amateur boxing. I literally watch more amateur boxing than 95% of them, because most of them, they only care about Black American amateur boxers. So they don't really watch fucking the world championships or the Euros or the Asian games or any of the other ones. I do, because I live in Asia and it's on YouTube for free. Ring Magazine is drunk. How is Loma over Tank for number one? Loma's resume of wins at 135 isn't as good as Tank's resume wins at 135. Snoopy, you're fucking crazy. Who the fuck is Tank Davis beat that was a world champion at 135 pounds? Please, name one. Just one. Tank beat Ryan, who got smoked, a pound-for-pound fighter. Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. Because Loma is a former unified champion and a two-time champion at 135, and his level of opposition at 135 is night and day. He's beat multiple world champions to unified titles at 135 pounds, fought for undisputed on 2 occasions. Tank Davis has never fought a world fucking champion. Mic drop. If only I had a mic. Wayne, who are the opponents? Petraza, who was Tank's leftovers. Comey, Nakatani, arguably lost to Ortiz. Get him, Sean. See, you can't talk to people like Snoopy, because if it ain't black, it's whack, right? That's the fact. John's going to say, Sean is talking about race again. It's not me, John. It's this dude fucking consistently making it about race in the comments with his stupid fucking takes. Tank Davis's resume at 135 pounds is pure garbage compared to fucking Lomachenko. There's no comparison. And what he did at 130 is also pure garbage. It ain't also comparable to fucking Lomachenko. There's not one weight division he's been at, except for 140, because Loma never fought at 140, where he's got a better win than Lomachenko has. We're still waiting for Tank's step-up fight. We are. He's 30 years old. All better than Tank's opponents at 135. Facts. Mic drop. Oh, sorry. Ryan Garcia was great. Ryan Garcia's never been a world champion. His best win was fucking Lomachenko's leftover. Okay, so let's move on. But let's just open so we can see this comment, or so I can see it. So here we go. So Ring Magazine's current lightweight rankings. And it doesn't fucking even matter who's fucking ranked higher. Does it really matter? Like, who gives a fuck? What we want to see is dudes fight. So if you got a problem, fucking fight him. But number one, you're also going to complain about William Zepeda being over Shakur Stevenson. But he also fucking has a better resume than Shakur Stevenson does at 135. But so you got Loma, Davis, Zepeda, Stevenson, Frank Martin, who's never fought a top 10 fighter. Dennis Branchek is a world champion. So obviously he should be ranked ahead of Martin and is a career 135 pounder. Raymond Muratalla, last performance, Keyshawn Davis looking good. He just got to keep moving forward. Mark Chamberlain, obviously, Turkey Al Sheikh's favorite fighter, and Zohar Abdurev. I don't even know if he's been fighting consistently recently. Do you agree with those? No. There's a few people that probably should be on this list that aren't. But it is what it is. It don't really fucking matter. The reality is right now, what people are talking about is a potential Tank Davis versus fucking Vasily Lomachenko. Sure, Tank Davis fucking aged Lomachenko out, ducked him for 7 years, but as a boxing fan, at the end of the day, I just want to see fights. Loma versus Davis is a great fight. It's definitely the best opponent on fucking Gervonta Davis's resume. It might not be the best opponent on Lomachenko's resume. Might not be as good as Gary Russell. Might not be as good as Rigo. Might not be as good as Devin Haney. Might not be as good as Teofimo Lopez. Might be better. William Zepeda, I'd love to see him fight Shakur, but I feel he's probably going to face Dennis Branchek, which is also a great fight. I would love to see William Zepeda get a world title. And we also potentially could see Shakur Stevenson fight Dennis Branchek for unification. That would be great too, especially if Lomachenko fights Tank Davis for unification. Then we would be one fight away from undisputed at 135 pounds. That would be perfect. If Tank Davis beats Lomachenko and then goes on to beat Shakur Stevenson to become undisputed at 135, you can then throw the belts in the garbage after you accomplish it. At that point, everyone is going to have him as a top 3 to top 5 pound for pound fighter in the world, depending on what other fighters do. But he's going to be right in that conversation as one of the best, most elite fighters in boxing. For sure. I have no problem fucking giving him tons of credit for those wins because that's all we want to see him do. As far as Devin Haney versus Sandor Martin, as I said, he should fight him. I saw Bob Arum offered $2.42 million. So, 70-30 split with 10% kept to the winner's bonus. 1.5 for Devin Haney. 1.5. Devin Haney's complaining about making 1.5. And he said he should have fucking put money on it. But the problem is you put money on it, you win it. What network are you going to fucking show it on? You don't have a deal with any network, right? At least if you fight on ESPN, you're going to get to fight in front of a huge American fucking crowd, bounce back after your embarrassing fucking loss to Ryan Garcia. Now what they're saying is, well, they don't want to fight until the New York Commission makes its decision so that his O goes back to being O, and that no decision, no contest is pushed into place. So you'd rather just sit around doing nothing, potentially be stripped of your WBC title. So then now potential super fights against Teofimo Lopez now fall through because now you don't have anything to bring to the table. Now he's talking about potentially going up to fight at 147, which is probably the weight you should fight at because we know you've been a weight bully. So you and Ryan both should move up to 147. You can go beat Mario Barros if you can, because Mario Barros is probably a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. Not as dangerous, but a better overall fighter. So don't be surprised if fucking Mario Barros beats him. And if you beat him, then you can go unify against Boots Ennis and get knocked the fuck out. And then we will have a legitimate pound-for-pound top 10 fighter in Boots Ennis. And that's no hate towards Devin Haney. It just means what you bring to the ring isn't going to fucking translate at 147 pounds. It was good at 135. It wasn't so good at 140. And it ain't going to be fucking so good at 147. Ice Man, what's up, my man? No, he didn't. He beat Gamboa for the vacant WB Reggie belt. That's what he did. Who said he didn't? Tank beat Gamboa leg cripple with a brutal knockout. What? One leg, old ass Gamboa. Come on. Gamboa hadn't been relevant since he fought fucking Bud Crawford. So let's just be honest. And then everybody used him to get a pseudo name on the resume, even though he was fucking shot. So I would not be fucking excited to talk about Gamboa. And Gamboa wasn't even ranked on any sanctioning body until the WBA moved him up there for a Tank Davis fight. That's fact. The greatest accomplishment Tank has done at 135 is elevated the WBA super champ. That's the best. Yep. And if we're talking about regular belts, take into account take away Gigi's title defenses. See, again, you sound like John Boxing. Well, why we need to deflect to GGG? We're talking about Tank Davis. So by you saying this, you're just taking away Tank Davis's fucking regular titles and putting it in perspective. He's a 2-weight world champion. That's an email title champion at 135 pounds. So he's only won legitimate titles at one weight class, 130. And he's done it 3 times, even though, sorry, 2 times. Because the other time he won the regular title and somehow was elevated to super title. The guy that won the super title was demoted to regular title. But you don't know that. Or if you do, you'll ignore it. It's laughable that Tank's resume at 135. It is laughable because nobody fucking could say that with a straight face. What former champ has Tank fought at 135? Gamboa. But Gamboa was never a champion at 135. But he was a former champion. Haney is a cupcake. Haney's scared of boots. Say what you want. Tank wins are aging like fine wine. Petraza, Pitbull, Rolly, Barrios become champions after Tank lost and Ryan destroyed a pound-for-pound guy. Petraza got beat by Lomachenko and then got beat by every other top fighter he fought at 140. Pitbull beat Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero got beat by a 38-year-old guy and was rescued by the fucking ref and then got destroyed by Pitbull. What do you mean that's aging well? Everyone knew Rolly was shit, and it fucking proved to be exactly that. Pitbull, based on beating Rolly Romero, his career is higher now than it's ever been. Petraza is fucking retired. And Barrios, he's waiting around to win a vacant title so he can win his first legitimate world title. His first legitimate world title, a vacant title. Boots, a weight bully at 147. Why is he a weight bully? He's making the weight. That thing Tank is 5 years lighter, didn't have any of the best fights. Not Loma, Haney, Lopez, Shakur, none of them. How is Boots a weight bully when he makes the IBF rehydration clause? I agree. Drew Titan's father says, what's up, Sean? By the way, 78 was dissing in his video the other day. Dissing me or dissing what? If he's dissing me, I just want John to listen to it and see that 78 fucking, I'm still in his head. Because he says, those guys never mentioned Sean. What are you talking about? Fucking 78's made multiple videos about me. He's invited me to visit him in Milwaukee. Come on. Haney undefeated record means all of his fraud resume. He cries like a baby to stay undefeated and said, just move on. Yeah. I understand, but that's going to happen. I guess he just doesn't want to go in the ring and have it announced that he has a loss, right? Because that's what would probably happen. Tank made Ryan quit and Ryan mauled Devin. Take away Gigi's regular title defenses. He still has 15 defenses and was unified champion twice. Exactly. That's what's the best thing. So he didn't beat B-Hop's record. Okay, even though the regular title was the title that B-Hop was defending. Let's put that in perspective, because there was no super title until they made one for Floyd Mayweather to duck people. But so B-Hop fought for the WBA regular title. Chi fought for the WBA regular title. He didn't get the other title because Sturm ducked him and dodged him fucking for years. But nonetheless, he still became a 2-time unified middleweight champion. Drunk, what's Gigi's best win? Blown up Brooke. Life and death struggle with Jacobs. His best win is the first Canelo fight. GJ lost to Sergey. Oh my God. See, once again, hating Snoopy. That's all you do. Hate. Triangle theory. Tank fought Ryan at a catch weight. Rehydration clause. Haney fought Ryan, who didn't make weight and apparently was on the juice. Yeah, he was dissing you. Really? I got to go listen to that video. What was he saying? Why is he dissing me? Just because I'm commenting on what a piece of shit he is? He is. He's been a piece of shit fucking for a long time. And being with the LDBC has just fucking made it even more. By the way, happy Juneteenth. To all my black brothers out there, happy Juneteenth. 78 says, you be messing with them lady boys over there in Asia. He must be confusing me with fucking Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's Boxing Nation is the one living in fucking Thailand. 78 just jealous. You see the women he hits on? Some ugly motherfuckers. God damn. Literally the women he fucking hits on, that fucking page that he had on OnlyFans with that one girl, I would not fuck a chick like that if my life depended on it. Wouldn't touch her. Fucking no chance. No way. But when you're 78, I guess that's the best you can do, right? I guess that's the best you can do. Knockout Boxing 8886 says he wanted to smoke you in a debate, Sean. Tank's debate would be entertaining. He's just a fucking legitimate fanboy. It's ridiculous how much of a fanboy channel Knockout Boxing has become. And I know why he did it. Because literally, he's fucking in cahoots with the LDBC. Him and BFTB, right? They understand that competing against each other for opposite narratives sells for both of their channels. So you have BFTB who fucking butt plugging fucking Devin Haney, and then you got fucking Knockout Boxing who's butt plugging fucking Tank Davis, and they just go on each other's shows, go back and forth with their debates because they know the ridiculous fans that follow their channels just want to hear the same fucking bullshit day in and day out. And that's all he's pushing. Like, go to his channel. All it is fucking Tank Davis shit consistently. Just like he used to be fucking Errol Spence shit until fucking Bud Crawford knocked the fuck out of him. And now he still slags off Bud Crawford, even though everything he said was basically fucking proven incorrect and wrong. But okay. You wanted to debate me what? On you being a fanboy? You're a fanboy. Your fucking channel says it all. I don't need to say anything. GG is irrelevant to the conversation. The guy is retired and fought a middleweight, super middleweight, and lightweight. Where's the comparison? Exactly. You can't debate opinions with facts. Exactly. I guess you can, but it's dumb. Facts. Wayne is on the back foot. No, you just don't understand common sense. Go on to Knockout Boxing, debate him. He won't because you out. He'll have genuine debates until BFTB and those other dudes. I don't care about debates. There's nothing I can debate Knockout Boxing on because he's a fanboy for Tank Davis. It's the same way you couldn't have a debate with him with Errol Spence because he's a fanboy for Errol Spence. He cannot see fucking clearly. McSmith is alive. You've done nothing but make yourself look biased. What's wrong with that chick he had on OF? Why, you like her? Okay, to each their own. Wants to discredit GG win over Brooke, yet gives Tank credit for beating Santa Cruz. Exactly. That's why I gotta love Drunk Irishman. He's just a boxing fucking, I don't even know what the word is called, who just fucking spits facts. When people put out stupid bullshit, he just comes out and fucking exposes them, their narratives, with the facts. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do as well. I see you have problems with white fighters because they are not cowards and cherry pickers like most of the American fighters that are overhyped and just must be really jealous of white fighters. Kind of like Caitlin Clark. against fucking Angel Reese. Tank brings in super chats. Well, that's what he does. That's why he's there. That's it. That we know that's what it is. It's all fucking for money, capping for cash. Did anyone check on H Money after Haney got his butt kicked? Shh. You can't debate with mentally challenged people. No, you can't. So you make full videos criticizing knockout boxing videos, but you won't go on and debate him. Yeah. That's about it. I don't need to debate him. What are we going to debate about? You agree with the narratives he pushes out with Tank Davis, where he literally criticizes Shakur, criticizes fucking Lomachenko, criticizes Devin Haney. They're all ducking Tank Davis. It's Tank Davis that wants to fight all of them, right? Those guys all cap for him because they just want his name recognition. None of them want to fight him. They're all ducking him. They're all running away from him. They don't want those fights. Really? Oh, okay. How do you debate that? Fucking, come on. Malik Scott is going to take Zerdo and beat Opataya, in my opinion. Okay, sure you will. Sean, did you know BFTB was charged with sexual harassment? I heard that. No, but I have gone on and debated before. I've gone on his show and debated before. So I disagree with him about Tank. And I went on his show and debated. Once was enough. I don't need to go fucking back and forth. I might have even actually been on his channel twice. I can't remember because I don't really care. We even went back and forth on my channel a little bit. And he was like, no, let's go to my channel because your platform is too small. Okay, whatever. Ring IQ embarrassed knockout boxing who ran away. Thoughts on Southpaw TV. I have no thoughts on him. I don't care about him. I don't watch him. He could die tomorrow for all I care. So there we go. Mike Benson talks about Devin Haney suggesting that he may now take a break from boxing and only return after the Ryan Garcia rematch. If you're going to wait for the Ryan Garcia rematch, that means basically you're going to put yourself into suspension for potentially a year or two as well. Imagine that. So Ryan Garcia is going to be suspended by a New York commission for a year, maybe 2 years, and you're going to wait for the rematch? Okay. You went on his channel and debated. Do you have the link? Fuck, that was before my channel got shut down by John Boxing. But you can check out his and try to find it. Ring IQ and Sean smoke all these clowns. Ring IQ smoked Sean before. He didn't smoke me. He just called me a racist, right? Basically, what Ring IQ did was the same thing most of these channels did. Get in his feelings because someone had a different opinion than him. And that's the problem with most of these channels. Their egos are too fucking big. And when you disagree with them or have a different opinion, they get emotional. He was the same. You're going to come at me and attack me as a racist, but yet, what were we talking about? How was racism involved in it? You're not black. So what racism was involved? But right? Okay. The truth is, we agree on more than we disagree on, but you're not going to agree on fucking everything. That's just the truth. Sounds about right. I never see Ring smoke Sean or anyone for that matter. What hypocrisy would that be? No, he exposed your hypocrisy. What's my hypocrisy, J.A.? Feel free. Explain it to me. My hypocrisy. Sean, will you try again and unblock Hawker Mustang? We were talking about it. I tried. I will do it again. But like they said, the problem is when you do it here, it's almost like you can't change it because it's not on YouTube. So you can go back to the thing and try to block him again and then push it. And by that, maybe he will be unblocked. But it's not an easy process. But I will try again. I need to go to comments. I sent him a message in the comment section to try to create a connection Did he get it? I don't know, because I sent him a message there, and I was hoping that would help turn it around. Tank says Turkey, a guy who knows nothing about boxing, trying to start a boxing league is bad for the sport. Yeah, but who fucking takes intellectual fucking comments from fucking Tank Davis, right? He is fucking so fucking deluded. He's gonna literally walk away from fucking the best opportunities of the future. So they're gonna create this league, and then a fucking stupid motherfucker like Tank Davis will refuse to go on it. And then he'll be the one guy at 135 who's not part of that top 15. So then who's he going to fucking fight? Well, I mean, he'll continue to fight a bunch of bum ass motherfuckers from the PBC. But, uh, Hawker, now that's a big time GG guy. He had him beating Hagler. Hey, that's a good conversation. GGG has a lot of things that could cause Hagler some problems. We saw Hagler struggle with fighters that weren't as good as GGG, but at the same time, Hagler had more reach, also had a great chin, also had great power. It would be a great fight. Turkey is saving boxing. Those Saudi cards are all bangers. True. And by creating a league, let's talk about the league before we look at this brunch boxing thing about the top 50 African American boxers. 7 weight classes, I think they said. It'd be better if there was more, but I think it was 7, but maybe I'm wrong. You let me know if it was different. With the top 15 fighters from every weight division. I mean, what's the problem with that? That's exactly what we want, right? One ranking system. People said, oh, I heard fucking Pro Box and those guys going, oh, it's good to have multiple sanctioning bodies because, now unification fights mean so much. What are you, fucking retarded? Like, this is boxers that said that. So then when Sugar Ray Robinson and fucking Hammer Hank Armstrong were fighting and people were top contenders, it didn't mean anything. When you were the number 1 contender and you earned your mandatory fight for a world title, it didn't mean anything. Actually, that's exactly fucking what we're aiming for. Top 15 rankings, where literally you need to fucking beat 3 or 4 dudes in that top 15 to elevate yourself to number 1. And then the guys the champ is fighting are legitimate, tested fucking monsters. Guys who went through the gauntlet and now want to take on the fucking best. Those guys, when they get there, are going to be hyped. People are going to know them. They're going to see them on 3 fucking shows beforehand, kind of like Daniel Dubois and fucking Parker right now. On big fights, getting showcased, great performances, and now being elevated into huge fights based on their performances. Now people are excited to see Daniel Dubois versus AJ. They're excited to see who Parker's going to fight next. Whereas 3 fights ago, nobody gave a fuck about either one of those 2 dudes and didn't have either one of them fucking ranked in the top 5 of the heavyweight division. We don't need 4 world champions. We need 1 world champions and 15 fucking contenders scrapping it out to fucking get a chance to take on the world champion. And when you beat him, it's significant because there's fucking only 1. You're the king of the fucking castle. It's like when I was a kid in primary school in kindergarten and they would shovel the snow to the sides. And then you have a big snow fucking mountain. And we'd be on the mountain fighting to be on top, right? Pushing kids down, fucking fighting, scrapping it. Big fucking fat kid pushes me from behind. I went flying off, cut my fucking face on ice. That's the challenge. King of the fucking hill. 4 fucking champions. That's what's diluted boxing. That's what brought boxing to where we are now. The lowest fucking point in boxing history until the last 2 years. And then it's definitely been fucking pushed up. Thank you, Al Heyman PBC. And thank you, Saudi Arabia and DAZN. Turkey is saving boxing. What it is, J.A. Hagler has a way better resume than shitty GG. Yet you couldn't name 3 top fighters that Hagler fought that weren't fucking welterweights that fucking moved up. But his resume is way better. Okay, go. Tell me his way better resume. This was a great PBC card last weekend. Did you give Al credit? Listen to you, fucking sucking Al Heyman's cock. That's fucking sad, man. Really. Al Heyman's not even involved in the PBC anymore, but that's how deluded you are. Now it's fucking the Cubis who's running the PBC. But see, you don't even know that. We have a couple upsets in the card. Yes, we did. And I mentioned at the beginning of the fight card. Let's not get carried away. GGG is good, but not an ATG. He's beaten nothing but bums and all the actual good names. He arguably lost those fights. Sure, you can say that all you want, but then we can look at Hagler's resume. You can look at B Hop's resume and look at who they fought before they got older at the end of their career. And they also lost to multiple top fighters before they became world champions, and then cherry picked smaller fighters who moved up in weight. And that's where they made their fucking name and their legacy. How is Boots going to get big fights when nobody wants to step up? He doesn't need big fights. Boots doesn't. What do you mean big fights? What's this fucking obsession with big fights? When you're a dude like him and you chase big fights, you know what you get? Fucking nothing. What he needs to do is get fucking good fights. Beat Mario Barros. Beat Stanionis. Beat fucking Howard. Good fights. 3 good fights. 3 unification fights, and become undisputed at 147. And then what will happen? Then fucking big fights will fall into your fucking lap. But you being unproven, not fighting anyone, dangerous, but not marketable, who the fuck is going to fight you and pay you tens of millions of dollars? No one. Because nobody knows who you are. You're not marketable. You haven't been built up correct. The PBC buried you at the end of the bench, and fucking you weren't even utilized. And the only belt you have was an email championship the IBF fucking stole from Bud Crawford. And I like him, but that's the truth. Conor Benn, Stanionis are good opponents in 147, and I doubt he'll step up and fight Boots. They will make those fights. Just make them. Conor Benn needs to fight someone in America. He can't fight in the UK. Haney will probably target Matthias after he looked weak. Well, Matthias, why would you fight him? He just lost. He doesn't have a belt. Mayweather is Heyman. Heyman is Mayweather. Hagler beat Mugabe. Snoopy. You could not name literally one fighter that John the Beast Mugabe fucking fought. You couldn't name one. That's why you just skipped over my question I asked you to fucking talk about John the Beast Mugabe. John the Beast Mugabe, that every fight you know he had, he fucking got knocked out in. Literally. Every single big fight you can name, John the Beast Mugabe got knocked out in. Boots needs to move up in weight. No, he doesn't. He does not need to move up. He needs to fucking clear out 147 and make his own fucking legacy. Shitting on Hagler and B-Hop's resumes, saying that only cherry-picked smaller fighters is really showing your bias. No, I didn't say that. You're the one and others shitting on Golovkin's resume, saying he didn't fight anyone. And he lost to this guy and lost to that guy. What I told you is the true perspective. Who did B-Hop beat until he fucking fought Trinidad and fucking De La Hoya? Welterweights who moved up. Prior to that, his best opponent was fucking Roy Jones, who schooled him and beat him. And then he fought a couple, I think one good middleweight to unify, and then a bunch of fucking nobodies that never fucking accomplished anything. Hagler fought a bunch of fucking mid-tier fucking dudes that were all Philadelphia fighters who all fought in fucking the Blue Horizon, and literally a couple good fighters like Adafermo and whatever, a UK fucking hype job in Minter, and then literally made his name off of fucking Hagler, Duran, and Leonard, and lost to Leonard, who was retired for 3 years. But we're going to say, he's unbeatable. What do you mean? A fucking welterweight coming out of 3 years retirement fucking beat him. So, come on. He was not unbeatable. Those would be great fights. I'm not downplaying or shitting on them, but that's what you're trying to do by not giving Golovkin any credit and acting like somehow Hagler was fucking invincible. invincible. I think he fucking lost multiple fights. 147 is a dead division. It won't do Boots any good to stay there. Oh my God, stop, man. Are you guys boxing fans or narrative pushers? What do you mean a good division? Every fucking division goes through transition. The 140-pound division, the 135-pound division, 135 when Bud Crawford was there, was a fucking wasteland. The only fighter was fucking Ricky Burns, who is far from fucking elite, right? And when fucking Broner was there, who did he have to fight? Fucking literally nobody. Now the division's fucking great, hot, great up and coming young fighters, great superstars. Like right now, middleweight is fucking on a downswing, but eventually it's going to be right back up there in the mix. That's what happens in boxing. Right now, all he has to do is worry about doing his thing, winning his titles, building himself, becoming a pound for pound fighter, building his name recognition on DAZN. And then when he moves up to 154, he's going to be a big name. And then big opportunities are going to open at 154, eventually 160, maybe even 168. Barry Bonds or Willie May, who you got? Barry Bonds, Barry Bonds, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is my favorite baseball player of all time. And I'm a little too young to have watched Willie Mays, even though, rest in peace, young man. All the things you're saying about Hagler and B-Hop could be true, but they still have better resumes and wins than GGG. So what does that... So, okay, what's B-Hop's best win? You're going to say Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya. What is Hagler's best win? You're going to say Hagler and Duran. We know Golovkin's best win is Canelo Alvarez. But that was robbed away from him. He could easily have 2 victories against Canelo Alvarez, which would be equal to the fucking 2 other fighters you just mentioned. Griffey was a great player. But unfortunately with Griffey, he was too good of a guy. He didn't jump on the steroid train with everybody else. He just stayed his own way. And then, of course, aged out, injuries caught up to him. And then he became kind of irrelevant, right? But think about that Seattle team when they had Griffey, the Japanese dude, fucking the big unit pitching. They were fucking a monster squad. We'll stay at 147 and see if you can get a fight. Go ahead and listen to Newton. Yes, exactly. Go ahead. Listen to Newton. There's no fucking buddy paying for fights outside of DAZN. And DAZN wants to make fucking him a star. So you don't think they're going to pay Stanionis the kind of money that fucking Stanionis wants to fight him? Or Howard? I mean, Howard looked good against Santillan, but he also looked like shit in his last 2 opponents prior. So he's young. Maybe he'll develop. But the biggest opportunity for him is a fucking unification fight with Boots. Mario Barros, come on. Come on. These guys need Boots Ennis eventually. I have GG winning the first Alvarez fight, but what the record says is what it is. But that ain't true. History in boxing shows you that that's not true at all. Seattle Mariners had so much talent, surprised they never won. Jay Bruner, Edgar, Brandy Johnson. They were a great team. It's amazing that they never won a title. But then you look at the pitching from fucking Atlanta, right? You have 4 Cy Young pitchers, and you can't win a fucking a title. Jesus Christ, man. All I know is I lived in Toronto when Toronto won back-to-back, so I'm happy. But let's check out this recent list that obviously came out because it is Juneteenth, and they're listing the top 50 Black American fighters in history. So I'll just list through the top 10, and then if we have comments, we can comment. So Ali, Sugar Ray, Joe Louis, Armstrong, Ezra Charles, Mayweather, Moore, Jones, Leonard, Pernell Whitaker. I would say right there, this list is not really that legitimate. Because to have Roy Jones, Leonard, and Pernell Whitaker up there, and even to have Floyd Mayweather up at number six, I think that's mostly Kool-Aid from the modern generation, right? Where you're disrespecting fighters from the past because you don't know who they were, you didn't watch them fight, so you just want to highlight modern day fighters more so. Number 11, Tommy Hearns, Foreman, Sandy Sadler. Sandy Sadler should probably be above Tommy Hearns. B Hop, Hagler, Jack Johnson. Really, can you really put B Hop and Hagler, uh, even Foreman above Jack Johnson? Emil Griffin, Emil Griffin, really? Shouldn't he be higher? Aaron Pryor, great fighter, one of my favorite fighters. But having him top 20, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson. I love Evander Holyfield, but I don't know if he's a top 20 all-time Black American fighter. 21, Frazier, Holmes, Bob Foster, Crawford, Charlie Burley. Charlie Burley's up there, never won a world title because Sugar Ray Robinson ducked him like crazy. Joe Gans should be higher. Sonny Liston, Spinks might be too high. Sonny Flowers, Ike Williams, Andre Ward at 31, James Toney, Riddick Bowe, Floyd Patterson, Bo Jack, Jimmy Bivens, Harold Johnson, Terry Norris, really? Holman Williams should probably be higher. Joe Jeanette probably should be higher. Harry Wills probably should be higher. Jack Blackburn, Joe Brown, Timothy Bradley breaking in there. Chalky White, Bob Montgomery, Winky Wright, Antonio Tarver, Shane Mosley, and Mark Johnson. It's amazing, right? Like, I think there's definitely recency bias on this list. And all these fighters are great, so I'm not criticizing any of them. But, when you want to talk about the greatest Black American fighters in history, recency bias or recency bias definitely seems to be a real thing in this debate. But let me know what you guys think. You think this is good, or is some of this shit out of whack? I mean, I understand you really have to be a boxing historian to know about a lot of these fighters. I mean, Murderers Row dudes are here, right? Burley and Willis and others. And people know that, and they know how to use it when they try to talk about racism in boxing. But then when you have this list, which has nothing to do with racism, they're not getting credit on this list of Black American fighters, right? So, what does that tell you? I don't know. Tank won the Juneteenth Freedom Belt versus Martin. I don't think he fought for it. I think he said, fuck that. I think Gary Russell was getting it. My favorite fighter as a kid were all Black. Not all my favorite were Black. I didn't really have too many Latino fighters that I liked so much. Salvador Sanchez, yes. I like Jeff Fennick. I like Azuma Nelson. I'm trying to think of non-Black fighters I liked. Alexis Arguello. But outside of that, I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard was my favorite fighter growing up. So, and then I love the 1984 Olympic team. Obviously, Pernell Whitaker, Taylor, Holyfield, Mark Breland. What a fucking squad. Sandy Sadler needs to be higher. The hardest featherweight puncher of all time, 145 wins, 104 KOs. That's what I'm saying. Basically put Willie Pep in line, right? Tank versus Duran at 135. Man, you got to go with Duran. Duran is a legitimate lightweight world champion. At this point, Tank Davis isn't. Who would Mike Tyson make the top 20, but not Holyfield? Holyfield has more accolades and better wins. Well, I didn't say Tyson should be on there either. But Tyson did do some things that were historical. Become a world champion, the fastest heavyweight, youngest heavyweight of all time. Emil Griffin, 17, a two-division undisputed champion. Facts. Sugar Ray Robertson, Ray Leonard, and Floyd should be at the top of the list. Well, the problem with Leonard is that his eye issues stopped him from really having the resume that he truly needs. Floyd, unfortunately, a lot of people feel he cherry picked his way through. You can't blame Bob Arum, Top Rank, of cherry picking and maneuvering fighters, but then not say they did the same thing for Floyd Mayweather, right? Sorry, you can't do that because they did the same thing for him they did for everybody else. Tank has legendary power at 130, 135. That's true. But many fighters have had great power and aren't on this list of great American heavyweight boxers of all time. Durant smokes Tank. Come on, man. I would put Holyfield and Griffin in top 10, but I am no historian. Who will be the next LDBC poster boy after Haney gets destroyed again? Boots? Boots Ennis? Maybe? The power vanishes as soon as you find someone good. Look at Wilder's so-called hardest puncher in history. That's historically true. Great punchers have been put into place by great boxers who took their power away. Really, man, Wilder, Aaron Pryor, way too high. I get apart from beating Alexis. Who did he do? Exactly. And I love fucking Aaron Pryor. I mean, Aaron Pryor, historically, maybe one of the biggest boxing cheats in history with the special bottle against Alexis Arguello. Great fights. Go check them out if you haven't seen them. And I love Pryor. I wanted Pryor and Leonard to fight so fucking bad. You guys can go check out on YouTube Aaron Pryor fighting Tommy Hearns when he was an amateur. Uh, I loved him. Great fucking exciting fighter. But, his resume was lacking. Unfortunately, Duran didn't fight him, which would have been great. I don't know why Duran didn't go to 140 and fight Pryor. That would have been fucking. I mean, yes, I would have loved Pryor to fight Leonard too. But imagine fucking Duran moving from 135 going to 140, facing Pryor before moving to 147 to take on Leonard. This is what we're talking about. People doing this kind of next level shit. Uh, the great heavyweight isn't even American. The greatest heavyweight of American. Who's that? Canadian? Canadian? Level of competition is a factor when rating someone's power. Exactly. Tank can fight off the back foot and front foot. Great body puncher. All stuff Wilder knows nothing about. All true. But similar to Wilder, Tank Davis can get beat round to round to round to round because of lack of volume and just relying on his power. Ha ha. This is why I like drunk Irishmen. But, eventually relying on his power to save him. And that's fine. You can do that. But imagine when he faces a prime Shakur Stevenson, even if you think he's going to beat Lomachenko. Now he fights a prime Shakur Stevenson, who's literally younger than him, fucking fresh legs, can move fucking for days. Great fucking ring generalship, controls distance brilliantly. You can easily see him searching for that power all fucking night and ended up losing a unanimous decision. And fine, people say that was a boring fucking fight, but it don't matter because that's what fucking Floyd did to Manny Pacquiao. It was a boring fight. No one could fucking go, yeah, that was a great performance by Floyd. No, it was boring as fuck. The same way Fury beat fucking Klitschko. Boring. But a win is a win. Sam Langford, my Canadian brethren from Nova Scotia. If you can love Aaron other and admit his resume is lacking, why can't you love GG and admit his resume is also lacking? I've admitted Golovkin's resume is lacking because he was blatantly ducked by every single fucking champion at the weight division. So why can't you admit he was blatantly ducked by everybody? Sturm, Abraham, fucking Quillen, who's the English guy? Daniel Geale. He fought him, but after he lost his title. Billy Joe Saunders, fucking Sergio Martinez, Cotto, Canelo dropped his title. Dropped his title. That's 8 dudes off the top of my head. Pirog, who he was scheduled to fight, but fucking ruined his back and pulled out of boxing forever. Pirog. That's 9 fucking elite fighters. Chris Eubank, who he was scheduled to fight, and Chris Eubank lost his fucking pen. The only reason he fought a welterweight was because the middleweight fucking ran to the mountain. So that's 10 prime, top, elite. Andy Lee. The fight was made for Kazakhstan. Gigi's dad died, so the fight was canceled. 11 elite middleweights that he could have fought, and unfortunately, those fights all fell through because guys blatantly ducked him, and some of them were just circumstance. Tank, without throwing punches, was constantly making Martin work. That's true. Yeah, just like Gigi did to people. You already know Sean is good. Lennox Lewis, he owned all those Americans. Oh, come on. Sam Langford, best Canadian of all time. Lennox Lewis, second best. Loma is better win than Shakur for Tank, especially if he stops him. Canelo, Teal, Boots all struggle to cut the ring off, but Tank shows you how it's done versus Martin. Is he going to do that against Shakur or Loma? You think Martin's fucking footwork and ring control and generalship is that good based on never fighting a top 10 lightweight before? The difference is that all those guys, except Boots, have better level of competition. Why didn't he move up and down in weight throughout his entire career? If he really wanted to challenge himself, he said he could easily be at 168 pounder because he wanted to be undisputed at middleweight. Why would you move up and down in weight? Did Marvin Hagler move up and down in weight? No, he didn't. Sam Langford is the GOAT. Even Dempsey and Johnson wanted no part of him. I know. He fought Johnson, right? Shakur is going to be trying to jab Tank from the 7th row. Won't be fun to watch. Don't matter if it's fun to watch. It's fucking a legacy fight. It wasn't fun to watch Floyd fucking fight Manny Pacquiao either. Almost ruined boxing. Canelo struggled to cut off the ring versus a 154-pound Mel. Teal struggled with Ortiz. Those guys aren't great. That's because Mel was running fucking for his life and didn't want no part of exchanges. Just wanted to survive and collect his paycheck. Ireland boxing has what, Katie Taylor? Oh my God. Katie Taylor, the best women's boxer in history. Gee wanted that Canelo pay. That's why he started at 160 forever and only moved up to fight Canelo. Well, no, Canelo wasn't there originally. He wanted all the smoke from all the champions. But unfortunately, he walked away from the Billy Joe Saunders fight for Undisputed to fucking chase after the Canelo rematch. And I understand why, because he felt he was robbed in the first fight. But unfortunately, he should have just said, fuck Canelo, beat Billy Joe Saunders, became undisputed, and then the Canelo fight eventually would have fell into his lap anyway, right? But, you know, this is shit. It happens this way. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, at the end of the day, he got what every prize fighter wants, huge prizes. So Katie Taylor has a better resume than Tank. Let that sink in. Way fucking better. It's not even fucking comparable. Katie Taylor's resume to Tank Davis, it's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. The level of opposition she's faced compared to Tank Davis, holy fuck, right? Becoming undisputed in multiple weight divisions, facing elite women, and now going to rematch fucking Serrano. That first fight was great. Great fight. I don't watch women's boxing. I watch that probably as much as I watch the WNBA highlights. But that fight was great. It's probably the best women's boxing match I've ever seen. He waited for Canelo. He could have moved up and really chased greatness. Little G sacrificed his resume. He could have moved up and chased greatness. So if he moved up to 168, who would he have fought to chase greatness? Let me know. Tell me in the comment section. What great fight was there at 168? Because he did try to get a great fight with Carl Froch, but Carl Froch, again, another fighter, ducking him. Can Boston Celtics be a dynasty if egos stay in check? I think Boston ego is not an issue. The problem is they're going to lose White, right? Who's probably going to want a huge payday coming off of this championship. Horford is going to be fucking 97 years old. Porzingis is always injured. So the question is, can they fill out the squad with the depth they need to compete, right? Porzingis is so injury prone and Horford only getting older. Need some front court help. Exactly. And even their bench, the two white boys, they're both okay. But I'm surprised that they contributed as much as they did. Because outside of being 3-point shooters, I don't know how really they could defend anybody really or do anything outside of hit an open 3-pointer. But Boston lived and died off the 3-pointers and it was successful. But it's also based on matchups, right? If they would have had to face the Joker, would they have won or would it have been the same as fucking last time? You're probably one of those fans who say GG should have fought Ward, huh? That's what I was hoping he was going to say. Ward, who literally had been retired for 2 years, never came back and fought at 168 after he came back. Every single fight he had after his 2-year hiatus, including when he was calling out Golovkin, never did he fight at 168 again. Every single fight he had was at 175. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fights, all after he came back of retirement, and every single one of them was at 175. But he's acting like he was going to go back to 168. But yet, you could have had great fights at 168. He could have rematched Carl Froch, but his stubborn fucking ass refused to go to the UK because he was such an A side, right? And then when he fucking agreed to fight Kovalev, he needed 2 prime fights, even though he had a fight already before he made that negotiation, before he'd have Kovalev in his 3rd fight. And then he was fucking gifted the victory. Sure, he came back and won convincingly the 2nd time, but it was a robbery the 1st fight. He did not deserve that fight. I don't see much of the East to stop them. Maybe the Bucks if they can figure it out. Philadelphia. I do think GG should have fought Ward at 164. Ward would never have fought him at 164. As I just said, Ward never fought at 168 again. After he came back after his 2-year retirement, he fought every fight at 175. Every fight against Smith's brother. Also, it was not at 168. It was 175 weight. It was above 168. And then the 2 guys he fought prior to Kovalev, both also at 175. And then 2 fights with Kovalev, both at 175. And to fight him, they wanted Froch because Froch was a huge marketable selling fight and exciting. He just had 2 great fights with George Groves that did fucking huge numbers in the UK. And they were willing to go to the UK to fight him. Andre Ward never fucking sold anything in his life. His 2 pay-per-views with Kovalev both did shit. And I think that's terrible. I can't believe that boxing fans didn't want to pay for Ward versus Kovalev. They were 2 elite fighters. It was a great fucking fight. I mean, didn't necessarily turn out to be a great fight, especially the 2nd fight. But on paper, it was a great fight. It should have got more support. But even those fights show you how unmarketable he was. He was a fucking terrible fighter to watch, dirty, and was gifted the World Boxing Super Series because he was the only fighter that didn't have to fight on the road. Everybody else had to travel, but not Ward. Can we do the live stream? I saw that you posted the StreamYard link on X. I can, but next time. I'm going to cancel soon, but for sure, next week, I will start a little earlier, and then I can add people to jump on. At the very least, he should have fought Froch, DeGale, Groves, or Smith. But the problem is Froch ducked him. He didn't want the fight. And Groves already got beat. Smith make Ward fight him, but he was too comfortable fighting tomato cans and smaller guys. Ward beat real UK legends. Meanwhile, Canelo is giving up Rocky Fielding. And dude, you sound stupid. Because Rocky Fielding is not the best fucking UK fighter that Canelo fought. See, it's funny when people say Canelo's fighting Euro bums, but then people praise Andre Ward's resume, which is made up of what? Fucking Euro bums. Right? Like, dudes just expose themselves fucking constantly. Like, I don't understand how you can pretend to be a boxing fan when all you are is a racist and a hater. Canelo's resume is very good. Fucking super good. Like, I don't understand. You don't have to like Canelo. I don't think Canelo is that special. He's not dynamic. He's not the kind of fighter I like. I was a Golovkin fan. But if you don't give him credit for what he's accomplished, you just expose yourself. Because literally, there's nobody in boxing today who's done as much as he has. Sean, what's your history with 78? Give us the backstory. There's no real backstory. We were all over YouTube. We were cool. We were always going back and forth against Floyd Mayweather fans. He got his channel shut down by Floyd Mayweather fans. Blood Boxing got his channel shut down by Floyd Mayweather fans. And then I had that stupid guy from Oakland pull a gun on me on YouTube. And then it really split YouTube because people were offended. I wasn't offended. I just thought he was a complete fucking retard, which he is. And that guy wants fucking credentials. Fucking retard. His channel sucks. He's a moron. And he didn't even know fucking to come to Taiwan to shoot me. He needed a fucking passport. How fucking ignorant and stupid can you be? But nonetheless, 78 latched onto him, supported him in pulling a gun and threatening somebody on YouTube. And then so did Blood Boxing. And then, of course, they created the LDBC, which wasn't a race thing. It was real boxing fans that don't want to be pulled in to the racial bullshit. And then what happened is they pushed out everybody that wasn't black, and it became only black boxing fans who agree with 78 and have the same narrative as him. Because if you don't, you'll get kicked off. So you have to agree with the general and everything he says, and then every single channel goes out and pushes the same fucking narrative. It's the most scripted fucking cult-like fucking group that YouTube boxing has ever seen. So there you go. What guy from Oakland? I can't even remember his name. Fucking some dumbass motherfucker. He's still part of the LDBC occasionally. I heard somebody was trying to get him credentials to go to some fight recently in California. GG won the first Canelo fight, but lost the other two. Sure. What's wrong with that? And they were competitive. So it should be 1-1-1. Actually, the second one probably should have been a draw. Tell us who has a better resume than Canelo that's active today. I'll wait. Nobody could say that because there isn't anybody. And that's the crazy fucking mind-blowing thing about these people that are such fucking haters, right? They're haters so much, but yet they can't deny. So they just lie. Richard, Sampson, Teo wins over Loma and Taylor. Trump, Canelo's two best wins considering GG fights are too controversial. Okay, sure they do. Even though you don't fucking give Teo real credit, you don't put him on your top 10 pound for pound list. But okay, yes, Teo's resume is fucking way better. This is like when people were saying that Danny Garcia's resume was better than Canelo Alvarez. People are fucking demented. Demented. It's all I can say. Like, Snoopy is the perfect name for you because you are a cartoon character. Because there's no truth in anything you say. And I don't believe you even believe what you fucking say. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you do believe it, which is not a fucking good thing. But okay. But thanks everyone for jumping in. I'm going to go shower and chillax before bed. Got to work tomorrow. But I appreciate everyone jumping in. It's been a good conversation. Thank you very much. I will see you guys next time. if I don't lose my voice. One of the curses of doing YouTube videos and being a teacher, talking too much. But peace out, everyone. I will see you next time. Enjoy. Later.